community radio for North Herts. This is North Herts Radio.
Now, the government has given the police a very difficult task, and that is to enforce the rules about self-isolation and etc. I've been joined on the line by our Hertfordshire Police and Crime Commissioner, David Lloyd, to talk about this. Hello, David.
Hi, B. How are you?
I am great. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for taking the time. It must be so busy for you at the moment.
Well, I suppose I'm self-isolating like everyone else. So yes, it's busy, but it's an odd busy, isn't it? Because I'm busy at home. So,
yeah, absolutely.
It's a funny time. We all know that, and I suppose extraordinary times mean the extraordinary measures. And I think we're all uncomfortable with the fact that we haven't got liberty and freedom to walk around, but we're doing it not because that's the sort of society we want. We're doing it because it's a public health emergency, and this is the way to ensure that people don't die. It's as important as that. So we're doing this, and I think for the most part, as you'd expect, the people of Hertfordshire are listening to that. They're staying at home. We're not seeing lots and lots of problems of having to try and disperse people or whatever. Everyone's doing the right thing broadly. So, let's hope that continues.
That's really good news. And do you think as the time progresses, because we're probably going to be in this position for, even though Boris Johnson has said he'll revisit this in 3 weeks, I think we've got to accept that we're going to be in this kind of position for a long time. Do you think people are going to start to get a little bit sort of tired of it and start to wander out? Is that something you can foresee as a police force? Clearly, I'm not the operational bit of it, so it won't be me who's enforcing it. So I'm the person who has to hold the police to account and make sure that what we have as policing in this county, as it always has been, is done but with the consent of the people. Policing in Britain is very much with the consent of the people. It's not forced upon them. So we're just doing what the people would want us to do. Now, your question was, will we get to a point where people start saying it's a nice day and I've been in for 3 weeks, I want to go out? Mm-hmm. Well, of course, people will be feeling that, and we've just got to find ways of leading people so that they realise, no, you can't go out yet, you've got to stay at home because people will die otherwise. Part of that, of course, is, what will the police response be? And over the next few days, I think tomorrow we get royal assent through Parliament for an extraordinary range of measures, which means that the police can enforce if more than two people are gathering together, or if they are unreasonably making journeys, they can enforce that they've got to go back home, and that can be backed up with fines, or it can be backed up I suppose through saying that you're obstructing a police officer in the police officer's lawful duty. So there are measures there, but I would really underline that this is about us policing ourselves. We shouldn't be saying, well, we'll go out for a walk just to and see if the police catch us if we've done it, if we're out and about with 20 other people. No, that's not the approach. The approach is to say, is this reasonable, and actually be policing ourselves. And what we can't have at this time of increased need for the police is people needlessly using the police. So that is, making them police whether or not they're out for a walk would be wrong, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. But also, dialing 101 just to sort of have a chat and find out what the thoughts are about the situation, rather than having a real policing purpose to dial 999 or 101. Let's try and take away from all the emergency services anything other than emergency calls, and anything other than calls which are really only able to be dealt with by the police or the other emergency services. Absolutely. Now, even though you're not on the operational side, obviously you're fully aware of the operational side of things. Yeah. I mean, are the police holding up okay? Are the numbers what you need to carry out this advice of the government? Yeah, I mean, there are two really positive things. I mean, the first thing is that crime is down significantly. I mean, about 25% over the last week, so about a quarter fewer crimes taking place than were before, which is really good news. And secondly, you'll know that in Hertfordshire, we haven't had the cuts to police that have been seen elsewhere in the country. So we are almost at the most police that we've ever had in the police force. By the end of the year, we will have 2,100 police officers. That's a really good number. The Chief Constable has assured me that we are well established, if you like. We've got enough police, and that the numbers are holding up. Clearly, we might have the same problems that any other organisation's got, in that we've got people who are working on the front line, doing really brave job on the front line, really as our police always do, and of course that puts them at risk of getting the illness, and therefore at risk of having to come away from duty. We're down broadly about 10% in numbers, I think, at the moment. Because people will have to look after their own, they will decide voluntarily to self-isolate. But we've still got sufficient people, and we're also making sure the police are really good at planning. What they've done for the last couple of weeks is they've split up things like the force control room into more than one location, so that it wouldn't all go down at the same time if there was a problem there. We have ensured that our most senior team isolates itself one from the other, so that again they won't all go down at once if they get ill. So we've really sort of thought through, how do you maximise the use of people, how do you minimise the likelihood of them getting ill, and that means that we will have enough people to be able to cope with this.
That's great news. And are you finding that a lot of, with the lockdown and everything, people are closing down? The schools have closed down. Your police officers are still able to take their children to school so that they can come and do the job that they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, those who need to have done so. I mean, not everyone is in a frontline role. So, for example, in my office, which is the Police and Crime Commissioner's office, we wouldn't, those who are parents within that have their children at home. We're not sort of asking the state to look after them, because they haven't got a frontline role, so they're working from home as much as they can. But yes, it's working well. I haven't heard any problems so far, and a number will, of course, have decided to keep their children at home as part of that effort, because clearly we can't have everyone sending their children to school, and a number have said they'll keep them at home, but that is there, so the frontline people, such as police officers, such as health workers, can still do their frontline role, and I'm really thankful that it's holding up and we're able to do that.
That's great. And there's been a lot of press about children not taking this seriously, where they're still going out and congregating in large numbers. Are the police that you're aware of, are they finding that's true, or are the people of Hertfordshire really paying attention?
Well, I haven't heard that. I think I have seen some of those things online which have suggested that, but I haven't heard that that's been happening in Hertfordshire. So I think we're taking it seriously. Clearly, I won't hear about every single incident which has happened, and clearly over the first few days it's about establishing what you can and can't do. So I'd just say to people again, stay at home. That's what we've been told to do. Let's just do it. Let's get on with it. It's not going to be much fun, but certainly in this part of Hertfordshire, the sun's shining beautifully today, and I'll edge out into the garden when necessary to clear my mind. So but stay at home.
That's brilliant news. And I really appreciate you making comment on the operational side of things. I know that's not your area of expertise, but it's really good to get that information from you. So on a personal level, you've got kids. Yeah. How are you keeping them busy?
Well, my kids, of course, are getting older. Well, they are grown up now. So one's working and self-isolating in London with his partner, and the other one is here working from home, doing her sort of PR role, and she's doing that from home. So we've got sort of 2 or 3 offices within the house. So it is what it feels like. Of course, they're not really offices. Dining rooms and whatever, but we're just managing to do that together, and we're all we're all still at that point where we're all enjoying each other's company. 3 weeks in,
who knows what happens?
Who knows where we'll be? But we're all enjoying it at the moment.
It's quite incredible. I call your children, but of course that's that they were last time I saw you. They were only sort of knee high, so it's been so long.
I know, but still, that's the but they're now grown up. So,
that's great.
Yes, it's strange times, and we're having to sort of reflect on what we on how we organise ourselves, and that'll be the same for all listeners, having to just reflect on new ways of doing old things. But perhaps that's a positive output that we can have, because we might find that the new ways of doing things are even better.
Great. Now, even though you've probably already said this, what are your final message to the general public, or what are the most important things that they have to remember?
Stay in, stay safe. Don't use any of the services that you don't need to use, and really just listen to what the Prime Minister's message was a couple of evenings ago, that this is so that not just you but friends and family stay well and don't die. We all have to take this very, very seriously and listen to the advice that public health give us.
That's brilliant. David, I really appreciate you taking the time out, your busy schedule, to come and talk to us today on North Herts Radio. It's absolutely
always pleased to speak to you, B, and it's a pleasure.
We'll have a cup of tea in your shed at some point.
I look forward to it.
Like the old days. All right then, take care.
Take care yourself.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye.
NorthHertsRadio.com